McQuonset, their sausage is unique and extra flavorful. I go with that.
One else, fruit does not belong on pizza.
Yeah, that pineapple, Caitlin, sorry.
It doesn't belong. Peppers, onions, and Italian sausage. That's all I need.
Okay. I am a straight up pepperoni and mushroom girl.
Okay.
Yes. And that's why I say it was so surprising to me that, like, when they brought in Robert's Pizza Dough Company, brought in that Brussels sprout pizza, I was like, oh no.
But you tried
Then
it.
I said, well, let me give it just a try. And I ended up going back to order it. Yeah.
So good.
It was a winner.
So good.
All
Yeah.
right, keep it right here. Chicago Now starts.
Why am I
right now.
hungry now?
ChicagoNOW. You guys get a little bit of a sneak peek behind the scenes because Anthony, he's still micing up. We got a mic situation on the ground. And look at my beverages, y'all.
I want you to run through this thing.
Let's do it.
This is, in the restaurant biz, this would be called a flight.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I came
Yes.
up, first thing I noticed about Caitlin's deal today is that she's got 3 vessels.
3 vessels.
Run us through what we're looking at here. as
He
we
used
get
the word
kicked off.
vessels too. That is fantastic. So usually, not that you guys care, but I'm going to share anyways. Usually I get up really early. Today I got up a little bit later because I'm working a different shift today. So usually I have all of these beverages consumed by this point in
It's a
my
lot
day.
of fluid.
A lot of fluid, yeah. But I think this is common. I don't know if it's just a female thing to have multiple kinds of beverages, because I've seen it on socials
I've got
too.
2.
You've got 2?
Yeah,
Okay,
I got coffee
all
and
right.
water.
Here we go.
Simple.
This is a coffee with some half and half. In this, we've got our smoothie, and in the smoothie, there's some almond milk, frozen strawberries, and bananas. Which, by the way, frozen bananas, that's the secret sauce to any smoothie. It'll make it,
The
like,
cornerstone to
sweet.
any nutritious smoothie.
Yes, and then what else do I have in there? Oh, some vegan protein powder, oatmeal, like just oats.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And a couple blueberries, which you might see in my teeth at some point during this show. I
I'll keep you
can't
honest
promise,
here.
you know.
Give me a.
I
you're good.
definitely noticed.
You're good
it
right
here.
now.
Sorry.
You are good.
Listen, I need some.
And then let me guess, water in that.
Yes,
Just
and-
straight up agua.
This, Owala doesn't like sponsor us or anything, right?
I believe not.
Okay, so here's the thing about this water bottle. I went on Amazon because this is another thing that everybody these days has. Like, our kids, for some reason, have to be hydrated at all times with waters. So I usually get like the Simple Modern brand water bottle, which is fabulous, fantastic. But I went on Amazon. You know how you go on Amazon sometimes and it's like highly recommended or frequently bought, whatever.
Sure. Most popular.
Yeah. So this one was one of them. I was like, fantastic. And they're cute, they're colorful. I'll buy 2 of them. They leak.
What?
And you lose the straw. So the straw falls off of this thing. It's supposed to like attach to the bottom, you know?
I don't like anything that it's got parts, like too many parts.
Too many parts. Like, I
Yeah.
can handle a straw. I want a straw for my kids to be able to, you know, drink the waters too, but like, this one, lose the straw, and then if you just have the cap on like this, it leaks. Same thing with Stanley cups. Those things leak all over the place.
Oh, with the straw things. The Stanley Cup with the straw insert. The reason I don't like the straw-related bottles is that if you tip them in the wrong direction, they will leak out. I don't understand. This seems airtight to me.
I will say that, yeah, sure. All right.
You're good.
Yeah, maybe I just
good.
didn't fully close it a couple of times and I just leaked. But also, something that's cool about these water bottles, I'll give them this. When you flip it open, not only do you have the straw option, but there's like an open part where you can like drink it.
And it looks cool.
Like, this part is the straw, and this part you can just like tip it and drink it. So anyways,
I actually think there's probably a story to what you just mentioned about our need to be
Hydrated and drinking water
right
all the
now.
time?
Because we'll get emails from the school and everything, hey, make sure your kid has a water bottle. I just remember back in, you know, the 80s.
You're hitting the water
Tales
fountain.
from the 80s with Anthony Ponce. When we were in elementary school, you got like 4 seconds at the water fountain. And I remember the whole routine in our school was you tap 4 times on when you're waiting in line, you tap 4 times on the person in front of you, and that's all the time they got at the water fountain.
What?
And now it's like bring your own. I'm not kidding.
Sounds like you grew up in like California where they're saving their waters. They're like, don't take a shower. We don't have enough water
I think
for that.
it was to keep the line moving.
Oh,
You
for
just
sure.
tap 4 times.
And now it's
Vivid
like,
memory.
you better have a water bottle in that kid's backpack or else you're a bad parent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I will say this too, when I don't work, like at work, I feel like I'm constantly just drinking water.
Yeah, me too.
And then when I'm off, I don't drink
Me too.
water. And I'm like, this is crazy, especially like traveling. Forget about it. I'm just like, why is my mouth dry? Oh, it's probably because I'm not drinking enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry guys.
Okay,
That was a
we
bit of
have a bunch to get to.
Yeah. Yes.
This author that we're going to be speaking to kind of toward the end of the hour, so I hope everyone will hang around, has written a book called The Devil Emails at Midnight, What Good Leaders Can Learn from Bad Bosses.
I'm so curious.
We never get overnight emails on this shift.
Like last
Ever.
night.
I've never gotten a
I was like, Anthony, I woke up and I realized my shift changed. Our business is a little bit different. That's not like a bad
No.
That's
This is
different.
apples and oranges.
Hey,
We're in broadcasting, so it's
right.
allowed. But you know, work culture. It's an important thing. It's directly correlated with with corporate success.
Oh, for sure.
So we're going to be speaking
We
to.
probably got some horror stories to share.
To her, yes.
I do too. I do.
We'll
get into it.
All had horror stories in the workplace. We're also going to talk about Dictionary.com's Word of the Year. It's not going to hint. It's not going to surprise anyone.
Yeah.
Although it's technically 2 words.
Why is 6 scared of 7? Because 7, 8, 9.
There we go. There we go.
That's a little hint.
That's a tease.
Yeah.
All right, now everyone knows what it's going to be, but
Maybe,
hey,
maybe
we still
not.
don't know what it means. Okay, to kick off the show today, man, we have some wild news coming out of Hollywood. I mean, there's always wild news
But
coming
this
out
is
of
kind of like
Hollywood.
negative. But we haven't talked to Michael Babcock in a minute.
No, I miss him.
Hey,
There
Michael.
he is.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm here.
You're here.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We are doing
Good.
fine. It's so good to see you and your smiling face, Michael, but we got some
Thank you
serious
for
stuff to
saying that.
talk about. You guys have posted a couple of articles. I mean,
Yeah.
the details here on this are disturbing. Why don't we start, though, with the singer David? We got a couple Davids to talk about this morning. But you have been keeping us updated on the case of a young girl named Celeste Rivas, okay, 14 years old. Her body was discovered in the trunk of a Tesla that was in long-term parking at a rental facility. You've been keeping us updated. If you can start by talking us through kind of the nuts and bolts of the case and then get us updated on what you guys are reporting this week.
Absolutely. It is really one of the more strange cases that I can remember ever having heard of, no less covered. But this girl, like you said, Anthony, I mean, she was 14 years old when she disappeared in 2024. Her family reported her missing. She lived in the Southern California area, and one day she just essentially disappeared. And they had not really seen her then in the months after that. Well, she had been clearly been hanging out with, and the exact nature of the relationship is unclear, but she had been hanging out with this guy named David, who is an up-and-coming musician who is really popular and getting, again, more and more popular by the day. He is a little bit older. He is now 20 years old. So she was 15. He's 20. So it's about a 5-year age difference. Her body is found in early September in a Tesla that is registered to David. Now, the car was originally parked on the street of a Hollywood Hills home, and it was parked illegally for so long that eventually the parking authority came by and they towed it to a tow yard. Well, somebody, after the car had been at the tow yard for a couple of days, they say something doesn't smell right around this car. And sure enough, police are called, and I won't be graphic, but they find Celeste Rivas in the car, and it was clear that she had been there for a while, put it like that. So then the investigation begins. You know, first of all, who is this person? Because at first it wasn't even clear. Forget it, it was Celeste Rivas. It was not even clear whether it was a male or a female. So they do a lot of testing. They are ultimately able to determine that it is this girl, Celeste Rivas. And then you say, okay, what happened? How did she wind up in, deceased in a trunk? And there has been a lot of investigating. There have been forget arrest. There have been no arrests, but nobody has even been named a suspect at this point. A lot of people, though, want to hear David's explanation here. You know, again, why is there a dead person in your car? So there have been search warrants executed at the place he was staying at in Hollywood, where the car was. And police are investigating. We have been told that David is cooperating with the authorities. Now, the newest bit of information here is that this house that he was staying at in Hollywood, where the car was ultimately parked outside of. It wasn't David's home. He was renting it. It's a $4.1 million home that's owned by somebody else. The person who owns that house said, hey, look, I want to know what happened at my property. So they hired a private investigator. The private investigator says that he searched the home and that he found, and look, does this mean anything? Does it not? That's the question. But he claims, basically heavy machinery and farm equipment, equipment that you could use to potentially get rid of a body. So he says these things were found. Now, again, like I said, police did execute a search warrant. So the timetable is a little unclear. Is he alluding to finding something that police missed, or was it before police did their search warrant? So a lot of questions still, but bottom line is he said that there was all this heavy machinery in that house. He says you would not need that machinery living where they were living in Hollywood. He said
because it's an urban area.
You find on a farm.
And
right,
now
exactly.
let me ask you this: was it unwrapped, unboxed? Anything known about the farm equipment?
Unclear. Yeah, he has not said. The guy's name is Steve Fisher, and I at least from what I have read about his report, he has not said whether what the condition was. Was there anything on it? Did it look like it had been used? I think those are all really relevant questions. I just don't believe we have the answers to them yet. But they also look. Maybe somebody was doing some work on somebody's home in the by a farm or by the countryside. I mean, who knows? I think there could be a bunch of reasons that don't have to do with an alleged murder. But it's worth looking at. I think if you're the police, why not?
Right. Yeah, and is there DNA on those things? I mean, that would be the first thing to check. So where is David now? What's the story with him? What's going on?
Walking free. Just he is not in custody. Nothing like that. Now, that's not to say that his career hasn't been affected by this, and maybe he's done nothing wrong. And again, not accused, not even named a suspect by police, but he has had some new music that has been put on hold. His record label has sort of, kept him at arm's length, for lack of a better terms, in between beginning of September and now, as police obviously still continue to investigate. So, he is just walking free, no charges, nothing like that, although that could obviously change at any moment.
Wow. Okay, we're going to talk about another David here, switching gears. Michael.
Yeah.
David Brian Pierce. He's a Hollywood producer. Can you run us through why he was just sentenced to 146 to life in prison? This was just yesterday. Who is David Brian Pierce?
Yeah, he is a guy in his 40s who was a Hollywood producer who has, worked on a number of different television shows and movies in the town. As all that was happening, though, authorities say that this man was essentially a monster and just brutalizing women across the city of Los Angeles for something like a 13-year period. The charges that he was ultimately convicted of ranged from 2007 to 2020, and there are sexual assault convictions that he has obviously now been convicted of, but he has also been convicted of 2 counts of murder for an incident that goes back to November of 2021 when there was a 23-year-old model and aspiring actress and her 26-year-old friend who were partying and were at a club, and they met this guy and they met one of his friends and they started hanging out, and they ultimately go back to one of their places, and these women died. And the authorities have got a conviction on this. They say it's they were given all of these illicit drugs, fentanyl, these really strong substances, and they ultimately died. The producer, who ultimately convicted to 146 years to life, he and his friend dropped the women off 2 hours apart at separate hospitals in LA, trying to cover their tracks. And obviously, ultimately, this is traced back to them. Police were able to find out that they had been hanging out earlier in the night. And you've got this guy, this Hollywood producer, who was somebody who was pretty well respected, who has now been convicted of murder and multiple counts of rape. So it's an absolutely grisly story, and just talk about living this alter ego or having a second life that nobody knows about. That was this man.
Do we know what he was a producer for? I'm just wondering.
You know, off the top of my head, I don't. I had spoken with somebody, though, that said that he was somebody that did work. I don't think he was, he's not Martin Scorsese, obviously, or somebody like that. But he's somebody who was working in this town. And again, I think from what I've heard, people say about him is that he was respected, and I guess the takeaway is that nobody suspected this, and this came as a complete and total shock to people that knew and worked with this man.
Wow. Real quick, and I don't know if you have any insight into this, but you remember you mentioned that you had a friend, and each of them dropped them off at the hospital. Any insight into what's going on legally with the friend?
Yeah, there are also some convictions there. The person was charged as an accessory. I'm unclear, count by count what he was convicted of, but there was somebody else that was also convicted as part of the case. But the producer, again, 146 years for a guy who's 43 years old. Obviously, he more likely than not never sees the outside of a prison cell again, and good.
Well, hopefully that gives some comfort and a certain amount of closure to the victims' families. All right, Michael Babcock, always good to see you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. I'm sorry the topics were so heavy today.
Hopefully next time they'll be a little bit lighter.
We're talking about happy stuff.
What are you going to be for
Have
Halloween?
a great day, guys.
Oh, yeah. Halloween plans?
I badly need a costume. So if anyone has any ideas, tell me.
It's too late. It's too late.
I'm going to figure something out. But you guys have costumes?
I've got one in the closet that I'm thinking of busting out. It's like an Aladdin-looking thing.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, I'm going to put on the show tomorrow to see.
There we go. There we go. All right, Michael.
Aladdin tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Sounds good. Do you have a costume lined up?
You know what I did?
You're hosting tomorrow.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. We're going to have an epic part. I'm going to take lots of pictures of
Okay. Costume?
I just got some cat ears.
Cat ears.
So boring. I know. Costumes are expensive these days. I've got to buy 3 of them already. Don't add a 4th.
Oh, yeah, that's right. For each of your little ones.
So I bought some ears. I'm just going to throw those babies on and call it a day.
Call it a day?
I'll be a cat, I guess.
Hey, what are your do you have any early, I know your kids are so young, but early thoughts on cell phones in schools? I mean, okay. What does your common sense tell you?
I break the rules with my kid, not with cell phones, but with the watch. Yeah. Anthony, yesterday, I don't even know if my kid's allowed to do this. I'm calling her out. She's got to watch one of those gizmo watches where they can call just a couple people.
Right.
Me, my parents, my husband.
Text, that's it, right?
Yeah, but she doesn't know how to. She can type like emojis. Anyways, she called me when I was driving home from work yesterday because she was on recess. And I have the most fun when she calls me. Yeah. We told her you can't call like during class, but sometimes she'll sneak a call on recess, and it is so cute. And at the end of it, she goes, "Mom, can I hang up now?" Yes, and you can hear them playing and how they talk. So as far as cell phones go, I know that's a whole nother level of Pandora's box with social media apps and stuff like that. Not a fan of it for young kids, and especially in school, I have no idea how that works, because talk about cheating. Like back in the day, we had these like big calculators where you could type stuff sometimes.
Yes, the TI-82.
Or the 89.
TI-85.
Whatever it was, but yeah.
You probably had the more advanced model because you're so much younger than me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We had the early model, Texas Instruments.
That's right. They're kind of pricey.
Yeah.
They're basically a cell phone. Yeah, so you could type in stuff in there to like cheat maybe sometimes. I remember kids doing, but like, or like a note card or like your hand. But like if you have a full-on cell phone.
With ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. I've been using it a little bit more recently. Yeah, you could do everything with that.
Oh, man.
It's pretty amazing.
No. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
So the reason I ask is because right after this short break, we are going to be talking about how new studies are actually confirming what probably common sense would dictate, and that is the test scores are actually going up at the locations where cell phone bans have been implemented.
Yeah.
So
when they say bans, do they mean like, I guess we'll have to ask our guest, do they mean like sticking them in their backpacks in the lockers, or like you can't even bring them?
Great question. And I don't know, it may depend on the location. However, I've seen videos of these cell phone lockers or bags where all the students on their way in, they turn them off, they put them in the bag, they zip them up, and it's not taken out till the end of the day.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I like them to have it in case of an emergency.
That's a nuanced
Yeah.
Like
we'll
argument
get into
for
it.
them.
We're going to dig into this.
Yes, exactly. So when we come back, we're going to be speaking to our friends over at Chalkbeat Chicago about cell phones and test scores when we come back after this.
Welcome back. Okay, parents, we're talking about cell phones in the classroom. And as we just teased before this commercial break, taking cell phones out of schools, it seems to lead to higher test scores, which is fantastic. But, you know, positives and negatives about these kids having cell phones in school. So this new study is going to be, we're going to dive deep into this with Chalkbeat reporter Erica Meltzer. Can you hear us, Erica?
Yes, I can.
Hi.
Okay, so no surprise that we're doing this study, Erica. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Can we talk about first how they did this study? How was it carried out?
Yeah, this was an interesting study design. They looked at a single large school district in Florida, which was the earliest state to adopt cell phone bans. So that gave them more school years worth of data. And then they actually used the pings that come off the cell phones to identify schools where there was higher or lower cell phone use before the ban. And so that let them compare, it's not something else going on in this school or in the community. It let them isolate the effect of the cell phone ban. And what they found was that in schools that had higher cell phone use before the ban, they saw a greater increase in test scores after the ban. And the other interesting thing is that they found that a lot of the increase in test scores was actually associated with an increase in attendance that happened after the ban. And so that's, I think there's a lot of common sense that if kids are paying more attention in class, they would have higher test scores. But I thought it was interesting that students appeared to actually go to class more without their cell phone. So that was an interesting finding.
Any more insight into why there was a drop before there was an increase when the ban was first enacted?
You know, these studies don't really tell us why. There was an increase in suspensions in the first year of the ban, and that sort of leveled off in the second year of the ban. And the increase in suspensions did fall pretty heavily on Black boys, and they didn't see as much test score growth as white students. And so some of these nuances in how things get implemented and enforced, for example, if students are suspended, they're not in class, some of these things could cause some of these wrinkles.
So can you just, I've got kids, but they're younger, they're not in high school, or I'm pretty sure this was a high school that you were testing?
They looked at all the schools in the district, but the impact was much higher in middle and high school. So a lot of elementary students don't have cell phones yet, and they didn't really see the same kind of impact.
Got it. Okay, so for older kids, what is the rules these days for most schools? So do they have, like, in most schools where they don't have bands, their cell phones with them in their pockets, or are they in the backpacks? And when they enforce these bans, because I'm just curious, Anthony mentioned maybe like when the kids walk into the classroom, they stick their phones in a bag. Is that what they were doing?
So in this school district, I don't believe that they were confiscating the phones. Just if the students had them out, they were disciplined. And so that does put a big burden on individual teachers to enforce the ban. We see a really great diversity of practices in schools. There are schools where they are collecting the phones in a lockbox at the beginning of the day, and the students pick them up at the end. Some schools are investing in these yonder pouches where they're sort of the phones are locked up. There's no signal to the phones. Other schools are just saying just don't have them out, but they're still in the backpack where a student could technically access them. My own kids go to schools that don't have an official ban, but they're not supposed to have them out at class. And I actually, asked my kids, and they said, some teachers just say don't have them out. Some teachers collect them at the beginning of the class period. You pick them up on the way out. It's just a lot of different practices.
Different models.
It's a new world.
I'm reading here that 26 states now have state-level bans or some kind of restriction on use in schools. Here in Illinois, what's the situation around here? Is this something where the dominoes are continuing to fall, and a study like this is going to kind of lead to more and more schools and school districts enacting these bans?
I think this study certainly sort of helps the case for cell phone bans. I think the way the researcher described it to me is that these were not game-changing test score changes, but it was a meaningful increase. I think something we hear anecdotally from principals is that the change in school culture when cell phones goes away is incredible, and I think that may be the thing that that helps propel the bans more so than these studies of test results. But there has been sort of a decade-long decline in American students' performance on some key national tests, and I think people are wondering, is the distraction of cell phones a factor? And so certainly I think this supports that case. I think the other thing that's important about this study is the finding about discipline. I talked to some principals who said, I'm never going to suspend a kid for a cell phone. What I do is I hold on to it until the parent can come pick it up, and then the parent kind of makes sure that doesn't happen again, but that kid is still in class. So I think there's also some findings here to think about how are we going to enforce that in a way that doesn't result in kids missing, more school. In terms of the sort of the policy landscape, we are so divided, we are so polarized, but this is one area where we see sort of Democrats, Republicans, like everyone thinks that phones are bad for kids. We know they're bad for us as adults, that they distract us and take us away from what we're supposed to be doing. And so, I do think we're going to see this this trend continue.
It gets so hairy too, right? Like, oh, the parent has to come pick up this cell phone because the kid had it out in class. And I can imagine too these days when kids have their cell phones out in the hallway, they're probably looking down, they might be bumping into each other, and then the whole other layer of social media, and maybe the kids are skipping class to go look at their phones in the bathrooms. Future studies, are we looking into other things that we can look at with cell phones? Do we have anything coming up?
People are definitely interested in looking at the impact on school climate. A lot of schools do school climate surveys, so there is data that we could go back, a number of years. I think anecdotally, people report less bullying, less fighting, even less drug dealing at school because kids don't have the means to communicate those things. But I think people are also wondering about the impact of social media use outside of school. So, for example, if kids are up late on their phones, if the communications that happen, between students on Snapchat or Instagram, and then they're taking that into the school. So I think people feel like there's a broader issue as well, where parents need to be, really involved as well in, in controlling their kids' social media use. And there's even some age limit discussions. We'll see where those go. But it's obviously just an enormous social change that's happened kind of everywhere all at once over the last decade.
You mentioned that a couple of the principals you had spoken to talk about maybe the test score increases are modest, but the school culture is markedly improved here. Can you describe that in a little more detail for us, what you're hearing from these principals about the culture change in the building?
Yeah, I mean, just that kids are a lot more engaged with each other. They're more engaged in class. So, for example, lunch had gone silent because everyone was just on their phones. But now the kids are talking to each other again.
Can you imagine a silent lunch?
One of my colleagues in New York, did a story where there was a courtyard in the school, and a teacher saw a bunch of kids clustered around something and thought, oh, is it a contraband phone? I better go investigate. And when they got there, the students were actually, looking at a butterfly that had landed on a flower. Oh. And so just the sort of, looking up, and I think that's something probably that those, us adults can also relate to.
That's the most wholesome story of all time. I love it. They were all clustered around a butterfly.
How much? Yeah. So you mentioned how some states have like laws in place, stricter laws in place for all the classes. How much power do these principals have over their schools to ban phones? Is it like based on the school district?
So this is going to vary enormously. Some places, Florida was an early leader in this. It was a statewide, ban, and they, tell their school districts what to do. Other places, you might have the state requires school districts to have a policy, but it's up to the school district to have a policy. And there are absolutely principals out there that have set policies for their own building even before their school district adopted a ban because they felt it was important. And I think some of those folks who were early adopters and leaders in this have shown the way of the difference that it can make, and also kind of working out some of those kinks about how do you enforce it, how do you communicate with parents. One thing that's really interesting is a lot of people will tell you the biggest opponents of cell phone bans are parents because they want to have access to their kids during the school day. And people have this idea of like what's going to happen in an emergency, but a lot of times it's like, I'm going to the store, do you need anything? I need to pick your brother up first, I'll be there, whatever. And people, these things could be communicated after the school day. They don't necessarily need to be communicated in the moment. And I think just with technology, we've had this expectation of constant access to each other.
100%.
That certainly when any of us were in school, our parents did not have.
No way. Caitlin was just saying how she's actually checked in via the Gizmo watch with her child midday.
I didn't check on her. She called me.
She called her.
She called me. No, but I know. And you know what? As parents, we're learning and adjusting too, because to your point, we're used to having constant access to our kids. And that's something to just like give up too. Like, oh, but wait, maybe you know what I mean? I get it. I get both sides.
Yeah, it's interesting to be in this. I feel like we're in kind of this transitional stage right now where schools are adjusting, parents are adjusting. We're all kind of figuring this out in real time. Eric, if folks want to check, dig deep and read your whole report, where do they go?
Chalkbeat.org.
Okay, chalkbeat.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, have a great one. Happy Halloween. Yeah, I am, this is like the one, we journalists, we stay down the middle on all kinds of topics, but I'm out front on the Wait Till 8th campaign. Yeah, I've signed on to it. I've been pretty public about this. And I learned about it through another dad up in Wilmette, but it's essentially the idea that you take this pledge to wait till 8th grade graduation to provide your kid with a cell phone. So I'm not talking about a Gizmo watch. My oldest already has an Apple Watch, which can do text messaging and some basic things, and you can track their location, which is key, right? But what you do is you take the pledge, and again, it's to not provide your kid with a cell phone till after 8th grade graduation, and then, but it's not binding. The pledge is not binding until 10 other parents from the same class at the same school take the pledge and sign the pledge. And once 10 families are involved, all 10 families get an email saying, hey, you've reached the critical mass, because the thing that we want to avoid is we don't want our kid to be the only one. The only one without a cell phone. So this is a measure. This is why I love the campaign. First of all, we're not talking about high school, they're going to get the phone by the time they're in high school. This is for the younger years. So now that you have 10 families that are signed on to the Wait Till 8th, then you have that critical mass, and you can start emailing out other parents in the grade saying, hey, look at all of us. We have taken the Wait Till 8th, And the other reason I'm already seeing the benefit of this is Theo already knows.
He doesn't get it till.
Yeah, and so then it takes away that, oh, what about for Christmas? What about for my next birthday? What about for my allowance? Can I spend my savings? What about my birthday money? It takes so much of the guesswork out of the situation. And so now we are just like,
Isn't 8th grade still middle school?
8th grade is right. I would say after middle school.
After 8th grade.
Because it's
Ninth
after
grade.
they graduate.
Wait till 8th
so
grade's
8th grade
over.
graduation. So, and that can also incentivize them to successfully graduate, you know,
Yeah.
and then, hey,
Not
buddy,
get the socials
8th
and
grade
all that.
graduation, here's your phone, and then we can handle social media some other way. But
You know what I would also like to add to this? Phones are freaking expensive.
That's right.
okay? I've got 3 kids. We're going to add 3 cell phone plans onto ours. Excuse me? This
Yeah.
is going to be really pricey.
And then how? Yeah, and then, hey, are they gonna pay their monthly? You know, there's like the insurance, there's like the data plan, all the
Anthony.
stuff. Hey, that's
My parents paid for my cell phone bill way too long.
Oh,
and
man.
That's the other part. So yeah, let's wait for them, but also
ready
for
to
our paycheck. you
food
know.
for thought. By the way, if anyone wants to know more about the Wait Till 8th campaign, you can either reach out to me directly or it's waitttill8th.org.
This is
give it a little plug there.
Do you guys like spit and handshake too?
Oh, is that a secret handshake?
I don't know.
That's a good idea, Caitlin. All right, we're going to talk about some trending stories when we come back. How DoorDash and GoPuff are stepping up with this looming November 1st, when a lot of folks' SNAP deadlines or SNAP benefits are going to go away.
Yeah.
Also, a robot that'll do your chores for you, and we're also going to talk about Dictionary.com's Word of the Year. All that plus an interview with the author of The Devil Emails at Midnight.
Yes.
What
So many
good
juicy
leaders
things ahead.
I know what good leaders can learn from bad bosses. That is all coming up after this break.
Don't go anywhere.
Do we have a video of this robot?
You're going out of order.
Oh, I'm going out of order. Oh, we're not getting to that. Sorry.
On the commercial break, they go, what order do you guys want to talk? Anthony, listen. Then you Anthony. We're talking about DoorDash, okay?
And GoPuff.
Okay, they're offering grocery.
I haven't used either of these, by the way. Have you?
DoorDash, maybe. GoPuff, never heard of it.
No.
But
it's
they're
another
a good thing.
Yeah, I think they're similar companies.
Sure.
Go ahead. Go
okay,
ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
So they're offering grocery deals for SNAP recipients during November. So these are grocery delivery companies. GoPuff is offering $50 off groceries for SNAP recipients. The deal is available in 2 waves throughout November, $25 each for use on SNAP-eligible items. So nice. SNAP recipients can also use DoorDash without paying extra delivery or service fees on 1 order in November. So delivery or service fees get wiped for 1 order in November. The offer is available for customers who have linked a SNAP or EBT card as a payment option.
Yeah. So it's not everyone. You have to have this as built into your app, I think. If you qualify for SNAP benefits and it's part of the configuration of your app, then you're eligible for this.
Yes, yes. It says DoorDash expects to waive fees on about 300,000 orders as part of the promotion. Yeah. That's a lot of people. Okay, so GoPuff, $50 for 2 different orders, $25 each.
There you go.
And DoorDash, you don't have to pay for delivery or service fees. That's kind of nice.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, this is a nice gesture by this company. Timely promotion as well. But I mean, Caitlin, you were in late today, but we've been talking all morning just about the millions of people that this will affect. So this will, make a difference for a couple folks for a couple days. But the it's a big looming issue with the government shutdown right now.
Yeah.
This is top of mind for so many folks. And I believe Illinois is going to be they're going to be getting state money to supplement this, at least on a temporary basis, supplementing SNAP benefit recipients for a short time. They're not going to get as many benefits as what would come in via the federal government, but some relief on the local level.
Yesterday we talked to the Greater Chicago Food Depository, and they were saying that they're very busy, but if you want to help at home, that's a way that you can contribute, whether it be donating food, volunteering your time, or donating money. She said yesterday when we were talking to them that they really could use just some funds to purchase the food for people.
Right. It's dire right now, and they're doing great work over there. Okay, Brad. Okay, now
let's go.
Let's see some of this robot footage.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a humanoid robot that is said to do your chores for you.
This is the commercial for it?
Maybe they're Oh, there we go.
No, that thing is creepy. No, thank you.
Oh my God.
No way. Is this real? This is
real.
So I was reading it. It's $20,000 for this thing. This reminds me of the show where the robot was named Sunny on Apple TV. What was that show called?
Oh, I was thinking. I thought you might have been referring to, but you're too young for it. Small Wonder, where it was a little female robot named Vicky.
Hold on. Why does it look so creepy? I mean, it's so tall. Why is it so tall?
And then. What was the other robot show? Oh, yeah, iRobot.
Hold on.
Okay, so Neo, a humanoid robot created by 1X, that's an AI and robotics company based out of course, Palo Alto, California, became available for pre-order a couple days ago. $20K, $4.99 per month if you want to. You do a subscription option. So.
Oh, the show I was talking about was called Sunny, by the way.
Oh, it's called Sunny.
And the robot's name was Sunny. Cute.
You can take out the trash, you can water your plants, and it can dance. It weighs 66 pounds. Caitlin, it's 5'6". 5 foot.
Taller than me.
Taller than you.
Is it taller than you?
No, I'm way taller. Way taller. 4-hour battery life, so don't worry. It won't be on all day. It can carry up to 55 pounds and lift 154 pounds. It's got 4 microphones, 3 speakers, and fisheye cameras for its vision.
Fisheye cameras?
I don't know. Okay, I want to know more. Oh, you know what I was thinking of as well? Rocky IV. You ever seen Rocky IV?
No.
Caitlin.
I know. I
can't say I'm very surprised, but yeah.
It comes with a machine washable knit suit and customizable shoes. If that doesn't sell it.
There's the suit.
Does it do its own laundry?
I think
it does your laundry.
Oh, right. It has to do its own laundry too.
By the way, I think these are the driverless cars as well. Everything's happening in California, by the way, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
They have already debuted those driverless. I don't know what they're called, but
Uber type things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, okay. So we've talked about this before. An electric vehicle that can drive itself, and it had a short-term trial period. And I did it a couple of times, And it is bizarre. It's really weird, and it's spooky. I think that's what this robot is. It's spooky. Would I use it?
Maybe. Well, tell me about your experience doing the driverless mode on your car.
I drive kind of slow, and this thing was not going slow around corners, so I didn't really like it that much. I only used it probably twice.
And
I had it like multi-month, just for fun.
Just to try it?
Well, because too, like on the right side is the way you turn it on, and I was trying to do wipers a couple of times, and you just push it down and it'll start automatically driving you. But if you touch the steering wheel, it'll turn off. So it turns off pretty quick, but it's still weird. And I think people use it, like they just trust this stuff. My only issue with a robot like this is how big it is. I know I've said that before, but like, it's too big. If it was about 3 feet high, like fine.
Chores, companion. You see how they're positioning that? That's the part that creeps me out is the
people marrying robots.
Exactly. Like there's that. Well, there's a couple movies that explore this. One of them is called Her. It's with Joaquin Phoenix, where he becomes the main character in the movie, the protagonist played by Joaquin Phoenix.
Why is he talking so close to its face?
Right? They look like they're about to make out.
What is happening?
Yeah. Anyway, and look at, she's just gazing into the robot's eyes, like with, I know.
I would try it. I would try it. I would try it. I would try it, but.
We get to talk to this author in just a moment, Caitlin, so I want to explore. Why don't you guide us through Dictionary.com's Word of the Year?
Oh, okay, yeah. We're talking about, you guys all know.
Enough of that robot.
I've got so many questions. I don't like the design. Why did we design it like that? It shouldn't look like a human. Make it look like a robot, like a cute little robot. I do have robot vacuums. Could not live without those suckers. Okay, let's talk about
Oh, you got the little Roomba Zoomba?
Oh,
or
do I ever. And the funny thing is, the one downstairs is called Sonny, the one upstairs is called Frank Jr.
Did you name those? Or?
My kids named those,
That's great. Good names.
Yeah,
okay.
Solid.
Go for it.
All right, 6'7", folks. 6'7". Nobody knows what it means. Not even the kids that say it know what it means. My preschooler this morning was talking to my husband on the phone. She says 6'7" in the back seat. I'm like, how does she even know what 6'7" is? It doesn't make sense. But anyways, Dictionary.com has announced its 2025 word of the year is 6'7". Can that even be a word, 6-7? Anyways, if you have children over the age of 6 or over the age of 3, you've no doubt heard it about 1 million times. So it means so-so, or maybe this, maybe that. But can you please explain, have you heard of where it was originated from?
From a song.
Really?
Yeah, it was a song lyric, and then it referred to one of the Ball brothers. There's Lonzo, there's LaMelo. Of course, LeVar is their dad. But I believe one of those players is 6'7", like 6'7".
Okay. So
and then it just took on a life of its own.
Yes.
Where kids just started saying it all the time.
So weird. Okay, so it's part of an inside joke, part social signal, and part performance.
That's as good of a definition as I've ever heard, and that's from Steve Johnson, the director of lexicography. Lexicography for Dictionary Media Group.
But then he says, when people say it, they're not just repeating a meme, they're shouting a feeling. Huh?
It's a feeling, 6'7". I don't know, I just used it as if I know what I'm talking about, which I don't.
A burst of energy that spreads and connects people long before anyone agrees on what it actually means. No.
This is the wildest.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not on board with this.
Hopefully hopefully this whole thing is temporary. I think it's I'm sensing that it's peaked.
You're sensing 6'7".
I'm sensing that 6'7" has peaked. Okay, I hope I'm right.
I thought it was from like a Taylor Swift song.
By 2026 it'll be in the rearview mirror. It'll be like you know,
and what
the
is
word groovy or something. It'll just be
I still like the word groovy though.
You still like it.
You know. What is the Taylor Swift thing that she says? Era? I'm in my something era or something?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. So, we need some younger folks in here to tell us what this means.
We, after this break, are going to be joined by the author of a book I'm already intrigued about based on the title. The title of the book is The Devil Emails at Midnight, What Good Leaders Can Learn from Bad Bosses. The author, Mita Mallick, is coming up after this.
With Dupic.
get some juicy stories out there. It's 10:50 and we're talking about the devil emails at midnight, what good leaders can learn from bad bosses. There she is. Mita Mallick shares how bad bosses aren't born, bad bosses, they're made. And they are a product of their circumstances. Good morning, Mita. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this topic with you.
Almost sounds like when you say they're a product of their circumstances, it almost sounds like a bully. You know, a lot of bullies are products of their circumstances. But run us through what inspired this book, Mita.
Well, what inspired it is my second book, and a few years ago, my mother's home was badly flooded and destroyed in New England, and there I am in my soaked childhood bedroom, all the things we hold on to, Barbies that I thought would be worth something, trophies, medals, all of these things, and I come across a notebook from my 20s, and I have journaled and documented vignettes of 3 particular bosses. I had nicknamed them. I'm rereading it. Wow, there was a lot of emotion and anger and things I had gone through working for these people, and as I'm driving away from my mother's soaked home with the things we salvaged, I had the notebook, and I thought to myself, this is a Mean Girls burn book moment, because what if I am in someone's notebook? And I'm sorry if you're watching this and you worked for me years ago. I was micromanaging Mita. Maybe you named me Maleficent, but that's what inspired the book. And the opening lines are, I've been a bad boss and chances are so have you.
No way. You've been it. So you
That's
know
good
that
self-awareness.
Okay, wait.
Very good
Yes,
self-awareness.
So speaking of, to Anthony's point, what makes a bad boss? What made you a micromanaging boss?
So what made me a micromanaging boss was one of the first moments in my career. I was an individual contributor and I get promoted. I got from like a cubicle to like a half office. I got a fancy title, more money, and congratulations, Mita, you're now in charge of all these people. And I was never trained. There was no instruction manual, and I sort of failed up for a while early in my career. But no one ever taught me this. It's not my job to do my team's job for them. I'm supposed to coach and teach. But early on, I was a notorious micromanager, and I also spent many years in the beauty industry where details mattered. But it took me a while to recognize that, and also to have my team tell me that, very politely, you are micromanaging us.
Wow. Okay, and you were able to take that feedback. Let me ask you this, flipping things around, who was the worst boss you ever had yourself, Mita? And what made that individual so bad?
Yeah, I mean, I chronicle a few of them in the Devil Emails at Midnight. One of them I've nicknamed Medusa, and she's in the book. And no one up until this point in my life and career, not my parents, not my brother, not my husband, certainly not friends, I never had anyone scream and yell at me in this way, publicly, privately, humiliating, berating people. She was the equal opportunity bully. She went after everyone. She threw pens. She threw a Chanel shoe at a colleague's head, which missed my colleague. I talk about that in the Devil Emails at Midnight. But this was the boss who ruled with fear. And so I showed up to work every day early on, really scared. And what did that do? It was an adrenaline rush. I worked really hard for her because I thought I could outwork the bully. And then you slowly realize you can't do that. She's going to come after you anyway. And fear really does drive short-term results. I believe that. But it absolutely kills culture in the long term. And what happens is you start to care a little less. You go under the radar. And then that flame starts to flicker out. And so that, to me, to this day, is I don't understand how leaders still are drawn to fear-based cultures and think that's going to drive results in the long term.
I had a job in the past, and it was in broadcasting, where I would, every single day, in tears, on my way home, I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired.
Was it fear-based leadership?
100%. And it was a micromanager, and it was awful. And I was young, so I was green, and I needed guidance. To your point, a good boss guides and helps, but it was not the way to go. The fear was not the way to go. So let's talk about the title, Devil's Email at Midnight. So is that kind of like these bosses that are up at all hours just trying to reach people who work for them?
So the title's getting a lot of buzz. People either love it or hate it. And the title, it's tied to the first chapter of the book. It's one of my very first bosses. This was the boss I was so excited to work for. The feeling was not mutual. She only had time for me between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. when she dumped out her inbox. Never had time for me in the office. I would follow her around like a golden retriever. I just wanted time with her. I even chased her out into the parking lot once. But the point is, I ask leaders this question: if you don't have time time to coach your teams and you don't have time for them, then why are you leading? So it is about how we communicate and how we're constantly burning the midnight oil. And guess what? We're not Uber apps. We can't constantly be on demand. At some point, we're going to burn out.
Mita, any surprising bad boss behavior that you uncover in this book that you can give us a little taste of?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah, one of the bosses, and you've probably figured this out, I've nicknamed them all. One of them was the cheerleader. He was the corporate Pied Piper. Loved being in the office, you know, when people are like struggling to get people into the office, loved being around him. He taught, he coached, he teached. So you're like, what's the problem? He sounds like a good boss, right? Except he was an Instagram reel of positivity, toxic positivity. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We can do this. Let's go. And I chronicle a situation in the book where we're selling a cereal innovation. It's going gangbusters. And I don't recommend this. People are eating cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But supply chain comes to us and says, we can't produce this product anymore. And he says, don't worry. We'll just add $1 million to the forecast. We can do it. We could do it. And then what happens is we end up missing the forecast. But the point of the story is toxic positivity is a bad boss behavior we don't talk enough about, especially in this market when things are changing. You have to go back in the trenches with your teams and you have to realign goals and not just be in the clouds thinking everything's going to be okay.
Maybe there's a boss watching right now who is like, ooh, I wonder how I could be better. Like maybe they don't fall into those categories that we just described, but what are like the main characteristics of great bosses?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you know, I think a lot about kindness, and some people say kindness is overrated. I don't think kindness is weakness. Kindness is a strength, and it shows up in the following ways. We want people who are competent. We want people who are competent and can teach us, right? Teach us something. We want people who are clear that we're working for. They're clear. They have clarity. They're communicating. Things are changing. I mean, look at what happened with Amazon this week and lots of layoffs. And that gets into care is the third one. We want people to show up in those moments. You know, I talk about in the book, I lost my dad suddenly in 2017. How do people in those moments that you work with show up for you? But also when you're leaving a company, how are they doing that with care? I mean, layoffs happen. It's terrible. It sucks. But are you showing people kindness and humanity in the moments that matter the most?
Oh, that's a really good message. I hope this book is a game changer when it comes to corporate leadership. All right, Mita Mallick, the book is The Devil Emails at Midnight, What Good Leaders Can Learn from Bad Bosses. Thank you so much for being on Chicago Now. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, it is almost 11 a.m. on your Thursday morning. I see Tia right here. She's going to join me. I'm sticking around for another hour. Sorry, everybody. And then I'll...
Everyone, lucky you.
Yeah, we'll link back up Caitlin for the noon show downstairs. And we will be back with another hour of Chicago Now right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Live. It is 11 o'clock on what I say is pre-Friday Eve. I get really excited when we hit Thursday because we're rolling right on through the weekend. We have a jam-packed show today. This time you have Anthony Ponce with me. Give that a round of applause. Where's our studio audience? Yeah, he's doing 2 hours straight.
Yes, that's right. This is a rarity.
Yeah,
it's good to see you, Tia.
It's good to see you too. Yeah. We have a lot coming up on our show today. We're talking about TikTok. The Love Doc joins us to talk about today's world of dating. Good thing we're out of that.
We're out of the game, but I'm always curious about the swiping and hey, is swiping kind of peaked? And you know, are people meeting in person anymore? We're gonna get to the bottom.
I have no clue. Yeah. Okay, that's why I'm on the merry side of life. Okay, and then Jon Hansen from Block Club Chicago will join us to talk about the neighborhood news. And there's a lot of stories there that Block Club Chicago delves into, so that will be exciting. But first, this is really exciting for all of the soccer fans that are out there. An international rugby match comes to Chicago this weekend. What it means for Chicago sports, I say soccer, but rugby, it's a little bit more intuitive than soccer for sure.
November 1st, Soldier Field. We have All Blacks. They're from New Zealand. They're taking on Ireland. And Tia, I'm not sure you are aware.
Come on, break it down for me.
Okay. This is the one factoid I know about this matchup. In 2016, the last time these two faced off in Chicago at Soldier Field, a streak was broken. Okay, this was a very, very dramatic victory for Ireland. Okay, and joining us this morning to break down this matchup, we have Mark Robinson, CEO of the New Zealand Rugby Union, along with Shannon Gallagher, Global Head of Partnerships for Gallagher Insurance. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being on Chicago Now. Which one of you wants to, maybe we can talk to Shannon about this object, the prop you brought in.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, this is a beautiful trophy right here. Talk about what this is and what is at stake on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Gallagher Cup, two great, formidable nations, Ireland and New Zealand, coming head to head. The rematch on that is because back at Soldier Field, 2016, excellent match there. Didn't go as favorably for New Zealand back then.
Wasn't that excellent?
And we're so thrilled to host it. You know, this is our hometown. We also have large business in Ireland and New Zealand, so being able to take that global presence and bring it to our beautiful hometown and right on the lake in Soldier Field. But also, I'm a rugby player.
Oh.
Aha, surprise, yes.
I am a little surprised
Yes,
by that.
I am. I'm a rugby player. So personally for me, it's more than just, you know, the Gallagher Insurance. But I'm really proud for lots of Chicagoans who are soccer fans to become rugby fans.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really important to me personally and professionally.
I got to ask a follow-up to that real quick. How long have you been playing? Was this something you started playing as a child?
No, there wasn't very much youth rugby when I was growing up around here. So I played soccer, Glenbrook South High School graduate. Right. And then when I went to college, I started picking it up. So that was a long time ago. And then since then, I mostly recreational for fun, or in some of the really exciting community activations that we do with our partnerships, where we bring rugby to youth. We elevate coaches for visibility and career pathways, and that's where I get to put on my boots and put in my mouth guard mostly these days.
Amazing. Mark, let's bring you into the conversation here, sir. You alluded to the fact that in your mind, this Soldier Field matchup from 2016, you're trying to block it out of your memory. Talk about why this particular matchup on Saturday is so special.
Well, there's just an amazing rivalry between the two teams that has been developed over those 10 years or so. Clearly for the previous many years and many matches, New Zealand and the All Blacks had been unbeaten against the Irish, and that was a huge day here. And I think it really opened people's minds to what's possible in terms of the theatre, the excitement and the rivalry of international rugby around the world. Since that time, we've obviously had a pretty even record between the All Blacks and Ireland.
5-5, right?
Yeah, and there's, you know, some. They came down to New Zealand and beat us in a 3-test series, which was a huge achievement by them. We returned favour in the World Cup semi-final, which was one of the greatest games of all time played, and beat them by a few points. And then last year in Dublin, we went back and were successful there. So, look, there are so many storylines, there's so much excitement building around the world of rugby for this event. We've got, I think, all 50 states represented in terms of fans in the stadium on the weekend. We have I think over 43 countries represented, coming in from all parts of the world.
Wow.
So rugby's really starting to flourish and develop internationally. We feel a real passion for the game. You know, it's our national sport in New Zealand. The All Blacks have got a really storied record of well over 100 years, and we're proud to be in the States helping Americans learn about our sport that we feel so good about and we think is the greatest sport on earth. So it's good to be here sharing it and being part of just a wonderful city and a wonderful few days.
Considering that you've been playing, how has it transitioned over the years, just looking at the landscape of Chicago, Chicagoland in general, and how rugby is received?
Oh, Chicago is a great town for rugby. And I think a lot of it comes to culture. Rugby community globally really stands for teamwork, resiliency, trust, right? A hard work ethic, showing up, supporting. So you talk about the city that works, city of big shoulders. You need those things in rugby, right? So makes it a natural fit to bring a match like this into North America, home at Soldier Field.
So cool. Now, Soldier Field is a pretty big venue, okay? Yeah. Is it one of those situations where Mark was mentioning people are coming from not only all over the country, but from all over the world to see this matchup? Is there enough space in Soldier Field? Is there still tickets available for people who wanted to get them last second, or is this thing already sold out?
It is sold out.
Whoa.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
it has been for a while.
What's the game day? Is it going to be similar experience as a Bears game at Soldier Field, or is there just going to be kind of a tailgating? Like, what can fans expect on Saturday?
I think you'll see much more of an international festival. And I like to say that the rugby party is just one full of joy, right? So there will be tough competitive rivalry on the pitch, but you will have fans of Ireland and New Zealand partying together beforehand and afterwards, and you will have fans of other nations that come to support the game, and it will be one global community. And I know the NFL is expanding and playing internationally, and that's great, but I think here in Chicago, for us to see that will be something special.
I'm so intrigued. Now, All Blacks, I don't know how to compare it in the U.S., but like the New York Yankees or the L.A. Dodgers, okay? They're like baseball royalty right now. You know what I mean? They're like, for some of us, it's like the Yankees are the evil empire. How are the All Blacks thought of in the world of rugby? Are you guys, I don't know if that metaphor holds up outside of the U.S., but are you guys like the New York Yankees of the rugby world?
Well, it's one of the things I guess we're renowned for is a sense of humility. So it's maybe not for us to
answer that.
I'll give you one anecdote though.
There's no evil.
Can I share one anecdote though? I was at the Bulls game last night against the Kings.
Hey, they're 4-0.
Yes, they are.
And the Seahawks on Sunday night. But I got back to the hotel and going up to the lift to our room was Russell Westbrook. Oh, wow. And so I was with a couple of my colleagues and we said hello and great game. They lost, of course, to your team, but we got in the lift and he asked about the game and I said, are you staying around? Can you go to the game? He goes, no, I'm so disappointed. And I said, yeah, it would be great for you to see the All Blacks. He goes, I absolutely love the All Blacks. I've followed the All Blacks for so long. So without maybe answering your question directly and being seen to pat ourselves on the back, it's a brand that resonates very widely. Some of the words that Shannon just used around humility, trust, respect, hard work, honesty, engagement. Now people deeply believe in all the values and characteristics of the game, and we feel an obligation when we go around the world. We play in front of sold-out stadiums all around the world. We're going to the UK on Saturday night to play 3 games in the UK, and they'll be all in front of big sold-out stadiums. And yeah, we've got a great connection of fans all around the world, and we feel really passionate about the US market and the lead up to the Rugby World Cups in 2031 and 2033 that you're hosting here, to make sure our teams are well recognised, our players are well recognised, and people know the story of the All Blacks and our women's team, the Black Ferns, as well.
I wanted to ask you, what is it like being back in Chicago? What do you love about Chicago?
Well, I didn't have the honour of being here in 2016. Yeah, so this is my first time in the city.
Oh, nice.
And I tell you, we've got a good bunch of people that weren't here 10 years ago, and everyone just loves the city, Like, people care about where you're from. You know, you're proud of where you're from.
Yeah, that's true.
Your sports teams are clearly well followed and people are passionate about them. There's sports merchandise everywhere. There's sports conversations everywhere. And we're a sports mad country in New Zealand, and to come to a place which has got so much history, beautiful architecture, amazing restaurants. We've had a ball of a time and love to come back sometime.
Well, we certainly hope you do. Shannon, I guess I have to ask you about the Irish side of this whole thing. Where is, you know, we think of football, you know, football in the soccer sense of the word, as the international sport, but what is the rugby situation in Ireland? Where does it rank in the pantheon of national sports over in Ireland? Can you give us any insight?
Oh, it's mad over there too.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a great heritage in the green as well. They're very proud to travel and represent their country. I'm sure that across Ireland people will be tuning in.
Okay.
People will be here.
Can you compare this to so Ireland taking on the All Blacks in rugby? Would that be the equivalent of like a Lakers versus Celtics, or you know, one of the other market
I was going to say
like
Bears in Green Bay.
Bears in Green Bay, you know, one of these marquee matchups. Is it like that?
It is like that. Yeah, and they happen more rarely too, right?
So the stakes are even higher.
Stakes are higher. Yeah, the eyes are on it. It's been 9 years since they were last here. Yeah.
I was going to ask you. You wanted to ask?
No, go for it.
I was going to ask you about this trophy because I saw this big box when I walked in, and I'm like, is this thing like has it been under guard? Like, how did it?
Under 24/7 surveillance.
Yeah, because I mean, look at the box for it. It's serious.
It has definitely been under guard. You know, I don't know. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Gorgeous. It really is.
I wonder if Mark could also, because we have an American, let's be honest, we don't have like a lot of international audience here in Chicago now. It's a local audience. Can you give us a little Cliff Notes, a little short version of the rules of rugby? Is it more like soccer? Is it more like football? Is it a combination of both? But what can you tell us if we want to like tune into the game? Let's say watch it online. So some basics so that we can follow things.
It's more like football, like the NFL, I guess, if you were to think about soccer versus NFL. We don't wear pads or helmets, but it's a hugely physical sport. It's similar in the key aim of the sport is to move the ball, to move forward. You can't pass the ball forward, you've got to pass backwards. And resetting of position is very similar to a scrimmage. It's a scrum set up, and people move the ball forward by either kicking it forward or passing backwards and running forward to try and score tries, or you can also kick for goal when there's a penalty infringement.
So you can't forward pass, but you pass it backward, and then you have to run the ball.
Forward,
that's the only way to make forward progress.
And there's another key difference to NFL is there are no stoppages on the field. So it's a very fast, open, attractive sport. When a player is tackled, they go to ground and we call a ruck. Our ruck is a continuous piece of play where the ball is recycled and then you start over again passing the ball backwards to move it forward. Whereas in football, obviously, you stop the play and start again. So that probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's the best I can do at the moment.
There's a sport called Ultimate Frisbee, which is, I mean, in that, you can forward pass the Frisbee, but it's the same idea where, okay, who is the, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot too much by talking about like singling out players, but I guess, is there a star of the team? Is there an individual on your team that is the most recognized globally in the sport of rugby?
You're right. We're not ones to single people out. But I mean, I know we're in your town and we're in your country, so that's something we have to acknowledge. People are interested in. You know, when in Rome, you've got to acknowledge that. But I think we've got our 2 World Players of the Year are probably people that will be more recognisable. So Adi Savia is number 7 on Saturday, and he was World Player of the Year in 2023, one of the most recognisable loose forwards in the world. And Bowden Barrett is he? Are they pictured here? Why is it? And Bowden, who I was about to speak to, is the person with his head down in the middle of that group.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So he's our number 10. He's like our quarterback. So he's like a Tom Brady or a Pat Mahomes or someone like that can move the team around the field. Smart guy, really strategic on the field. Yeah.
You know, Shannon, you mentioned, you know, kind of like training and like educating people on rugby. If someone's watching right now, you know, a lot of times parents want to get their kids and stuff that, you know, maybe people aren't talking about as much, right? Maybe in the future you can go to college on a scholarship for it. Where can parents right here in our area learn more about rugby for their children?
Yeah, absolutely. There is rugby in the high schools now, didn't exist, so perhaps the public schools will have that. The Chicago Hounds is a team here. You can follow them, right?
We on ChicagoNOW.
There you go. Follow them, be active in that community.
Very, very good. You went to GBS.
I did.
And you played in college.
Yes,
so
I did.
Is that rare for an American college to have a rugby program?
Not as much now.
Or is it?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Less and less so. It's become very attractive for the community and for a sport that really takes all kinds. Every body type has a position and a role on a rugby pitch.
So you don't have to be 6'4", 230.
No, not at all.
There's space in the game for us smaller fellows, speedy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a number 9 or a number 10, or a number 11 or a number 14
Sizing
maybe.
you up.
Yeah.
And what are those positions? What would that position be?
That is what we call halfback is number 9, and they are fast, smaller guys or girls that can pass the ball quickly. So they set up the back lines and they push the forwards around the field and get them moving. And the 10 is the quarterback, and the 11 and the 14 are the fast players at the back that are try scorers. They're the finishers normally. So
it's interesting. One more question before we wrap is watching this footage here. The pads and everything don't even look like they compare to what the players in the NFL are wearing.
The head is more protected.
Yeah. It seems like there's less padding. How common are injuries during a game?
It's probably like any contact sport in that regard, but rugby has led a lot of amazing research as it relates to player welfare research of all number of soft tissue injuries, brain and concussion research. We do have relationships with people within the NFL in terms of, you know, leading technology around mouth guards and what you can read in terms of potential injuries through mouth guard technology. We've done work on tackle technique with the NFL as well. So rugby is very much the safest it has ever been as a sport internationally. There are amazing formats for the sport for young people when they come in that don't have to necessarily be as physical. It's more about enjoying the game and passing the ball around and that sort of thing. But at elite level, clearly there's risk of injury, but I'd say it's the safest the sports have ever been, and we take player welfare as the most critical priority in our sport.
I would love to make it out there on Saturday. I know it's sold out, but it looks awesome. I've yet to take in a rugby match.
We'll find a space for you if you want to come along. No doubt. We'll get you in there.
Much. Take the kids. Cool. Take the kids on Saturday.
Take the kids.
They love it.
Yes.
They would dig it. They would dig it.
It's interesting.
Shannon and Mark, thank you so much. Have an awesome time at Soldier Field on Saturday. The weather's going to be great.
Perfect for it.
From what I hear. I mean, it's 55 degrees and sunny. Is that good rugby weather?
Well, we're degrees Celsius. It sounds like 55 is way too hot.
By Celsius. I can't do the conversion.
That'll be fine. We'll play in whatever. We're ready to go.
All right. Thanks for coming in. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we are going to check in with our friends at Block Club Chicago. They are diving into the stories that are affecting a couple of Chicago neighborhoods this week. We'll be back with them when we come back after this short break.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. This is like a tradition now. Every Thursday, we are joined by Block Club Chicago. And this time around, he said he was going to come in the studio. I don't know what happened this time around, but Jon Hansen is not in the studio yet again, but he's here to talk about some headlines. What's up with that?
He is not happy about this, buddy.
Well, no. Here's what happened. So last week I didn't come in. No one warned me there'd be pizza in the studio. And so that's an automatic 3-week punishment. So
okay, fair enough.
Well played, sir.
So
well played.
You guys have been covering all kinds of amazing headlines across Chicago. I know there's an update on the father who was detained by ICE. His daughter, sadly, is battling cancer. Can you give us the update that Block Club Chicago has as you continue to follow that story?
Yeah, we're just getting word now that this father is being ordered to be released. An immigration judge today set a $2,000 bond for Ruben Torres Maldonado, saying, and I'm reading off the story here, quote, "Nothing in the record indicates he poses a danger to the community." So the judge says that he has got strong community ties, he doesn't have a criminal history, and he's eligible for cancellation of his removal based on those factors. And so the judge has said you should be released today or tomorrow. He said this. She said this, excuse me, the judge did to this father. Again, just to recap, Patrick Philbin, our reporter, broke this story about this incredible 16-year-old, Ophelia, who has been battling cancer for the past basically a year. She is a Lakeview High School student. She got home on Friday night, and her father was detained and arrested with no criminal background, according to his lawyers, and now according to a judge, the following day. So it was quite a weekend for this family last weekend, and the update is that he should be out of prison. So we'll have to wait and see if this gets followed through with. Obviously, that will continue to be a developing story, but Block Club, the team's all over it.
Yeah, for sure, breaking that story. So I'm clear. He has been in custody ever since that arrest, so it's been days now.
Yeah, he was originally brought to Broadview. That's where the phone call came in at first. She said she knew when the phone rang from an undescribed number on her mom's phone. She had a hunch what had happened, and she was right. He was in the Broadview location. Today, he was reporting from an Indiana prison via teleconference. I don't know if the family's been abreast of the entire movements of him. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but that has been a story we've heard time and time again from families who often have no idea exactly where their loved ones are during this process.
Yeah, we followed a few stories where that has literally been the case, that the person was detained here in Illinois and mysteriously ends up somewhere else. Texas has been a place that's been brought into the conversation too. I want to talk to you about this as well, Jon. You know, last weekend we saw video of ICE out there doing their immigration enforcement right as a Halloween party was happening for kids. Obviously, it was happening ahead of Halloween, but I know Chicagoans are now trying to make sure that kids have an ICE-free Halloween. What is that all about?
Yeah, Tia, you mentioned that story on the north side and the tear gassing that led to the whole trials and tribulations we've been following this week with Leader Bavino in court and the back and forth on that. In response to what happened last week, a lot of people are saying, look, we're not sending our kids out trick-or-treating. They don't want to go out trick-or-treating. There's been a fear now in a lot of communities all over Chicago about what could potentially happen. Some people suggesting perhaps ICE will use that opportunity to go after families. They're going to be out and visible in the community. That's sort of been their MO over the past few months, right, with this Operation Midway Blitz. So they're teaming up. They're coming up with ideas. This is a picture of a bunch of people packing together a bunch of candy, 2,700 bags of candy filled up with notes, handwritten notes as well. That's Alderman Ruth Cruz is going to be divvying those out on the northwest side. They're going to do some indoor trick-or-treating in schools. And honestly, they're so fearful about even all of this information that they haven't even they're not really reporting all to the public. They're just telling these kids where they're going to do these events so that they aren't public knowledge because of the fear of them being outside or congregating all in one place at one time. You know, would ICE go after trick-or-treat? We have no idea, but I think it just speaks to the idea of the fear that the community is living in. And some people might retort, well, if you're here as an undocumented immigrant, you should be fearful. Whether that's true or not is not for me to say, but I will note that a lot of the fear is driven amongst communities of American citizens, of communities of documented immigrants. There's a lot of fear of, even if they aren't arrested and sent away, that they'll be detained for hours on end, which we've seen time and time again as well. So the fear permeates through legal citizens all the way through undocumented immigrants up and down these communities.
We also understand that, for example, up in, I believe it's either the Old Irving Park neighborhood or the North Center neighborhood, where kids were tear gassed, actually. There were, or families in that neighborhood were, as they were doing a Halloween party.
Yeah.
What is this? Okay, so in Logan Square, you know, and I know that's a slightly different part of town, but it's a trick-or-treating haven. Okay, a lot of people go trick-or-treating there. I understand that neighbors there are also kind of organizing to block traffic in certain areas and also patrol the neighborhood with things like whistles. Can you tell us a little more about those efforts?
Yeah, so in the 35th Ward, a longtime Logan Square resident has been working with the neighbors to potentially block off essentially western to Washtenaw, I guess would be 2500 west, to traffic. Now, that requires, like, you do this for block parties, right? You see this all the time in the city, not even the big festivals, just like block parties, individual ones. And you got to have 65% of the residents agreeing to make that closure happen. They say they've collected enough signatures to make it happen. We are still waiting to find out if that is going to happen, whether they're actually going to block off the street and try and make this seem a little bit more enclosed and private. I don't think anyone thinks that ICE still couldn't go in there and do something about it, but at least it would close off a public way for the kids to have a little bit more seclusion in an event that seems a little bit more controlled and safe. The whistles, great question, Anthony, are part of a broader effort that has been undertaken by a lot of communities where they have been handing out tens of thousands of whistles to people. It's a two-folded effort. One, it's to blow a whistle so that you can raise a ruckus. We've seen a lot of people taking out cameras then, recording videos. Sometimes making enough noise has stopped ICE officials from making arrests and they've gone away at that point. And the whistles are actually to warn other people who might be fearful of ICE that, hey, they have been spotted around the neighborhood. So that effort in the 35th Ward is twofold there, Anthony.
I was going to ask you, you know, in terms of ICE and all of this, just yesterday, maybe it's not really a question for you, it's more like a statement. Yesterday I was in a neighborhood that is not, you know, predominantly people that ICE would, I guess, typically go after, if that's even a, you know, an idea. And they were locking the door at the food pantry because they were scared that ICE would just bombard inside of the food pantry where people were there to get things that they need. So it's really so much going on that front.
I think you're right, and I think a lot of people have seen this not only in the city and the suburbs as well. Signs all over different grocery stores, some in predominantly Latina communities, some in not, and just no ICE is welcome here. We've been seeing more signs of those popping up. Whether those have legal bearing or not, we'll have to wait and see. There's a big debate about private property and whether, you know, Customs and Border Patrol agents can utilize private property if they're told that they can't without a warrant. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And I don't think it's wrong to say that ICE is going after people that are not white. I don't mean to put it so bluntly, but they, in fact, have been fighting that in Los Angeles. This went to the Supreme Court, an injunction where Customs and Border Patrol and ICE agents were specifically saying, no, yes, we are targeting people who we think might be, this is just to be interviewed, to be detained. And the Supreme Court, in refusing to fully hear the case, allowed that to continue, that they can go to specific areas of employment where people who are undocumented may show up, where people who have different skin color are, and they're allowed to go and ask those people questions, according to the Supreme Court, who refused to take on that case and allow ICE to continue what they're doing. So I don't think that's a stretch to say that that is what's happening in a lot of communities. Now, I'm not saying they're rounding up all people of a different skin color and arresting them immediately, but they are asking questions. And as of right now, that is a legal thing that they're able to do, a tool in their tool chest.
Yeah, indeed. Tomorrow's going to be interesting because my understanding is that the Judge Ellis yesterday told Gregory Bavino with Customs and Border Protection, take it easy on Friday. I don't know if that was her exact words, but it was essentially like, let everybody trick or treat, all right? Stand down. Go ahead,
But
John.
as we know now, the 7th Circuit of Appeals has basically stepped in and said, we're putting a hold on that order. And this will be really interesting to play out. I think you're hitting on something, Anthony, is that Judge Ellis was pretty stern in what she wanted Bavino to do, kind of schooling him in many ways. But he said yes, ma'am, to every question, said he was going to wear the body cameras, that he didn't have them, saying he was going to be following the laws, following the orders of the temporary restraining order. But now the Seventh Circuit Appeals has said, well, hold on there. And really, the wonder is, does an individual federal judge have the authority to tell a force of federal officers in the day-to-day operations of how they enforce laws, whether they're able to do that? And that'll be a question the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals will be answering, and that'll be fascinating to watch. Wouldn't be surprised if that individual case ends all the way up to the Supreme Court, because that's opened up a whole other can of worms of, is the judicial branch able to tell the executive branch how to day-to-day manage their operations in what they say, the executive branch, is enforcing the laws that are set forth by the Congress.
Right. The judge said, hey, you got to show up at 6 o'clock every day to give me updates. And then the appeals court said, nope, you don't have to do that. Although I think a number of the parameters are still in effect, John. Is that your understanding, that he's still going to wear the body cam, that he's still going to provide some documentation, but it's just not to the level that Judge Ellis wanted?
Yeah, you guys probably have more up-to-date reporting on me than in this room right now, but that is my understanding as well, is that while he has said that he doesn't want to change overall tactics, that perhaps there will be a compliance to some of the issues in the temporary restraining order. But again, as of right now, that's on hold. So I guess we'll see. The devil's in the details, and action speaks louder than words.
Uncharted territory.
Yes, that's right.
Is where we are right now. Okay, we got to talk about Brandon Johnson. Something that he said has gone viral. But could this actually happen? He called for a general strike. What is this all about?
This is interesting.
When did this even happen?
I hear general strikes have percolated throughout time, right? As like a really massive walk out of work situation that's supposed to be across all sectors, right? I think we all know what a strike is. A general strike would be everyone walk out and do the job. It essentially frees business from happening. And Mayor Johnson, while he was speaking at the No Kings event, said, quote, if my ancestors as slaves can lead the greatest general strike in history of this country, we can do it too. And he's referencing a lot of enslaved people in the South, essentially leaving and abandoning the Confederate States to essentially grind them to a halt and not be able to help their war production when they were in the Civil War. Okay. What he's followed up since is saying, look, I wasn't calling for a Chicago-only general strike, and I'm not the one that's calling for this. This is going to have to be bigger than me. And our reporters kind of dug into the history of general strikes. It's an interesting historical read if you want to go to blockclubchicago.org and look through it, at some of the ones that have worked in history and some of the ones not so much. But it's not a very common thing in this country, although we do see this in other developing nations. We've seen it in South Korea as recently in the past year after a somewhat disputed presidential election, a general strike making a huge difference in that country. It just hasn't been brought to the forefront and reached enough momentum to happen here in the U.S. There's chatter of a general strike that the United Auto Workers have actually organized for May 1st, 2028, which seems so far from now. They've had that in the works for a while. Some people calling for them to move it up potentially to next spring.
Interesting. Okay, well, the seeds have been planted, certainly. Before we let you go, John, Rogers Park tenants, there's a group of tenants that are banding together as well. Tell us what the situation is down there and why they're kind of unionizing in a way.
Yeah. This is unique, right? And this is actually percolating all over the city right now. These are called tenants unions, where they get essentially form together and they go on strike paying their landlord's rent. And you know, we could debate the legal aspects of this for as long as we want, but it's coming up in a few different areas, a few different buildings where a landlord is either going to completely redevelop it and essentially raise the rents so much, or like in this building where a lot of people say they've only been paying $1,000 a month for a single bedroom unit or a one bedroom unit, the rent's going up $400 a month, right? 40% versus a more standard $50, $100 raise. The theory is if enough people don't pay their rent, you know, they still have rights to be in that building until eviction action takes place. If anyone's ever been a landlord, those evictions take sometimes years to process. So it's putting pressure on the landlord. If you're not going to get any of this revenue coming in, and landlords still got to pay their taxes, still got to pay their mortgage that they don't own the building outright, still got to pay for insurance, maybe that's a negotiating tool to bring the landlords down in their prices. It's been happening in a couple of neighborhoods. Some strikes have been going on for months, and the landlords haven't budged yet. We'll see if this is a growing movement of tenants upset about high rents.
It's a game of chicken. John, Thank you, sir. You're a busy man these days. We appreciate you taking time for us.
We need you here
as
next
always.
Time. Here.
As long as you got a big, comfy brown chair for me.
Yeah. Oh,
we got
you know
plenty
it.
of these to
You
go.
know it. Get some lazy boys in
All
here.
right,
Thanks,
we'll
John.
see you next time.
Appreciate it, sir. Tia, we have I am excited about tee up your story. You got a story coming up here after
which
the
one?
break.
Wait.
Other art fair?
Oh, yeah, we actually did that interview a few days ago. So this is like, you're not traditional art fair. It's not stiff. It's very fun. It's different. It's out of the box. We did an interview all about it, and it's happening. I want to say it's coming up this weekend. Don't quote me on that. You got to watch the interview. It's coming up right after this break. Welcome back to Chicago Now. So the other art fair actually is running from today through Sunday. You have the opportunity to go. Gabby and I sat down right here in these same seats and had an interview all about it. Check it out. This is why you should go.
The other art fair presented by Saatchi Art returns to Chicago this weekend over in Ravenswood. This fall's edition will feature over 110 independent artists, interactive installations, live performances, and a high-energy opening night party. How fun.
It already looks fun just looking at the pictures. Joining us to talk about it is Emily Jean Alexander, the director. Thank you so much for your time and being with us today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
So I have to ask, already the title of it alone makes you ask a lot of questions. The other art fair, what exactly does that mean, and what makes it, different from traditional art shows that we may be used to going to?
So we're the other art fair because at most most gallery exhibited fairs, you're talking to the gallerist or representative, whereas at the other art fair, you're talking to the artists themselves. So it's them talking to you about their practice, telling you about what their inspirations are, and it's really easy to fall in love with a piece of artwork and want to take it home when you're there with the artist. And then on top of that, we like to turn a little bit of the art world conventions on its head by having some fun, interactive experiences throughout the fair, such as our artist design mini golf that will be happening at the fair, or fun performances, having a DJ, a fully stocked bar, and other workshops that you can get hands-on at the fair.
I love it. I love some of this video because, you never would see an art fair, or you could imagine an art fair would never be like that. Because art can be kind of intimidating, if I'm honest. Maybe it's not the first thing I'd go to, but
boring.
it's not because I'm an art enthusiast, but this kind of changes the game, doesn't it? And do people feel the same way when they go?
For sure. So one of the
main things about the fair is that all the artwork that is shown has a price next to it. So we really want to take out that intimidation that people feel walking into art spaces and thinking like, this isn't for me, or I'm not able to afford this. We honestly have something for everybody at the fair and every price point. So you can come in the door and purchase something under $100, up to multiples of thousands of dollars if you really want to. We're fine with that. But really, there's all mediums as well. So we have painting, we have photography, we have ceramics, we have lots of things for you to fall in love with.
Is the goal here for you to really highlight local artists? And the reason why I ask that is because, you know, a lot of times these big artists, you know, they get the name and the recognition, and we forget about the local artists that are also creating really some amazing artwork out there, and you brought some of it too.
Yes, so we have 115 artists that'll be participating, and over half of those artists are either from Chicago, Chicagoland, or the Midwest, and then we have a number of artists who come in internationally and across the United States as well. I've brought 3 artists here who are from Chicago who are participating, one for the first time actually. So I've brought in a photograph by the artist Christopher Hiltz. It'll be his first time participating at the fair. He normally does editorial photographs or some sports photographs, but this is actually his creative practice and the first time that he'll be showing this body of work. It's really moody, it's really unique, and like you need to get up close and spend time with it.
What are those, flowers or?
It seemed like they were. There's the one on the right of your screen
with
there.
the red and the orange.
That's what it looked like, exactly. It was kind of abstract, but
beautiful.
in its own way, it could be maybe
clouds.
Looked at
I don't know.
Different things.
Yeah, he has a lot of works that actually feature trees in it. So,
oh, okay. That could be a tree. I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so we have a little bunny that has milk written on it with a straw coming out of it. Who is that?
So this is Ellen Agati. She's also based in Chicago, and she did the tour merge for Harry Styles' tour a couple of years ago. But she's bringing a whole new series of work to the fair this time. It features her signature bunny icon, but the bunny is now been turned into some new playful objects, such as this play on a milk carton. So that's Ellen Agati.
That's really cute. It
we'll
really
give
is
a second
creative.
to bring up that middle one, because I feel like this is one that you would probably most likely see in somebody's house.
For sure.
A little less different. It's the abstract piece in the middle.
Yeah, so this is Brendan McKenzie, and he does these abstract pieces that are at once moody and dark, but then they're also really peaceful and serene. Imagine standing next to the lake in the middle of winter and looking out into the scene.
That's exactly what I thought too.
But it also can evoke a coziness as well, feeling like dark and cozy, and you're like, I'm at home in front of my TV curled up in a blanket, and this is what I have next to me. So
I love that they're all different, which proves what you're saying is that there's something there for everyone, because each one is very unique and completely different from the other.
Yes, and there's so much more to see at the fair. Even half of the artists who are participating in this edition are new. So if you've been to the fair before, you're not going to experience the same one by coming back this weekend, because there's just so much creativity in the building.
Again, I haven't been to many art fairs before.
Yeah.
I obviously haven't been to one like this, which I need to go. How much time should you put aside if you're going? A couple hours, you know, pretty much the entire evening?
Yeah, definitely spend a few hours with us at the fair. We're at Artifact Events in Ravenswood. It's really easy to get to, great parking.
It's a great event space.
And so it's like 4 floors of art basically that you're going around wandering and discovering. So it definitely takes a little bit of a time, but then if you also want to have a snack, we've got some food on site, we've got some drinks, we've got coffee, we've got mini golf. You can really spend a good day out with us at the fair, whether you come with a friend, your partner, your family. Yeah.
What do you do to recruit all of these artists? Because 115, that's a lot of different art, a lot of different, I'm sure, categories. You probably have ceramic, you have maybe people that specialize in lighting, you know, people that do different varieties of jewelry. What goes into finding these artists?
Yeah, so we have an application process, and so we do receive hundreds of applications for every edition of the fair, and then we have a selection committee which is based of art world experts from here in Chicago. They review and sort of let us know, hey, these are the 115 artists that we should really showcase, because this is what's current, this is what's trending, this is what's new, this is what is topical, this is what should be shown right now. And so we really curate the fair fair based on their expertise and through the applications that we receive.
I love that.
I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be interested. We need ticket information. Do you have to RSVP ahead of time or buy tickets ahead of time?
So you can purchase tickets on our website ahead of time, and there is advanced pricing, but you can purchase tickets at the door for sure. And the event runs from Thursday until Sunday. Thursday is our opening night party from 6 till 10. Friday, we have an art Halloween party, which you don't want to miss. So if you show up in costume, you could enter to win a raffle for a free tintype portrait done by local artist Max Lee.
That's really cool.
We've got artist-designed Halloween masks. Insect Asylum is working with us on some bug pinning. And then on Saturday and Sunday, there are really big fun days to come out with families and groups to the fair. So we're open at 11 each day, 7 o'clock on Saturday and 6 o'clock on Sunday.
I love that because the young people are also interested in art. So you encourage families to come.
Yes, and anybody coming in under 12 is free as well.
Even better. Okay, the website is theotherartfair.com/Chicago for anybody out there who is interested. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for being here, and I actually hope to see you at the fair.
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll report back on Monday.
We will. We'll be right back.
Getting big for
One very common attachment trait will ruin your relationship if you are not aware of it. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying attachment science and romantic relationships for nearly 20 years. And this is another edition of Carline Relationship Advice.
Oh, there it is. I'm so intrigued already. I'm intrigued already to get the answer to that one. With over 15 years of experience in social psychology, Dr. Sarah Hensley, she specializes in attachment science and attraction.
I like this.
And she is the founder of the Dating Decoder, and she actively coaches individuals and couples as well to turn their struggles into success stories. And we welcome her to the program this morning. Dr. Hensley, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
First of all, have to start off by asking you, was there anything magical that you did to grow your following? I understand more than 1 million people follow you on social media. You got like 1.2 million followers.
Yeah, I have about 3 million followers across my platform. So, and that wasn't about a 3-year time period. So it really did take off very quickly. And I think it's just because attachment science is a very niche area of psychology, and where psychologists now are trained primarily to focus on mental health, and even experimental psychologists like myself who are more research-based. It's just attachment theory just kind of, you know, fell through the cracks for a lot of people, but people like me and a few others in our discipline really fell in love with the theory, and the theory has stood the test of time. So it's been around since 1958, and we really have tens of thousands of empirical studies that validate the theory. So it's really good psychological science. It's just not the expertise of a ton of people. So I think when I started talking about it, it's such a good predictive model of how people will behave in their relationships, and it just captured social media attention kind of quickly.
I know you have the Love Doc podcast. You're in that podcast room right now. We were talking, we're both married. We were like, we are happy we're not in this dating pool. What do you think is going on right now? I know you give it to people straight up. What do you think is happening in the dating world right now that has people feeling like that? Like, you know what, I'm happy I'm out of it.
Yeah, so I think reliance on dating apps is really making people feel kind of worn out of the process because they're just not designed to foster healthy love and connection. And then a lot of people are not really aware of their own attachment trauma, and so they're not doing the healing work that they need to do after a failed relationship to attract a secure relationship the next time. They're sort of repeating their old patterns, and attachment theory shows that this is actually really common. And so I am, you know, partnering with another app to hopefully bring healing to the dating app process, because I think people really need to be able to actually go through a growth journey and a healing journey after each relationship to be able to grieve that past relationship appropriately, so they don't bring that old pain and project it onto a new partner. So I think a lot of people are, one, unhealed, and two, the apps are just not designed to foster great connection. They, you know, are a platform for ghosting, a platform for messages that go nowhere, and we need to set people up for success, and the apps right now just aren't doing it.
Let's, you mentioned your partner, about to partner with an app. Tell us what you guys are going to be doing differently that kind of fills in the holes you just alluded to with the current app situation.
Yes, that's a really great question. I'm so excited to be partnering with Project Valentine, which is going to be a brand new dating app that I am going to be helping co-create and co-found, and really build a healing journey into the dating process. So you are going to get my coaching curriculum along the way based on your specific attachment needs. So you will be able to be assessed. You will have me as your coach that will then direct you to my healing tools and my curriculum, and that can help you identify your attachment insecurities and come into secure attachment, where you really have the skill set to show up as a partner who can handle conflict respectfully and to meet people's needs and to be empathetic and to, you know, really show up as that strong, regulated, secure partner that is ultimately going to be successful in a relationship.
You know, people always ask me as a married person, you know, what should I do in my singledom to prepare for marriage? And I always say, go to therapy. Go to therapy, like, because it's something about you you may not even know is there, and you will find out that it's there in marriage. What's your advice to people out there that are looking for love? Maybe they are on the apps, they feel like it's a road to nowhere. What would you tell them they should be doing right now to prepare or even find love?
Right. Well, number one, I think we need to be getting back to organic connections. So start having conversations. Have conversations with the people in line at Starbucks. Have conversations with people at the grocery store. Have conversations at the gas station. Just start talking to people, because you never know when you'll strike up a conversation that might lead to a connection, or a friendship that could lead to another connection. Maybe you'll meet somebody, become friends, and they have a single brother, or they have a single sister, and that might be a good fit for you. And so start getting out into the world and having conversations with people, and just showcase your friendliness. And I know that's hard for the introverts. I'm an introvert myself, but when you start doing that, you would be surprised at who you will meet, and it really opens up the opportunity to meet people organically without having to be on the apps. And then what I would say is really focus on secure attachment. Take the time to investigate what attachment science is, understand what your attachment style is, and then take a journey into earning your secure security, because secure attachment really revolves around being able to regulate your nervous system around difficulties with intimacy, like when conflict arises. You want to be able to be someone that can empathize, someone that can listen respectfully, someone that can come up with active solutions and really repair conflict when that occurs in a relationship. And not everyone has those skills because their attachment wounding sort of revs up their nervous system and they go into sort of their trauma, fight, flight, freeze responses instead of being able to stay calm and engaged when we need to really repair things. So take that journey towards attachment security and prepare yourself to have a secure relationship. Secure people tend to attract other secure people. We know that from attraction science. So it's one of the best things that you can do in preparing yourself for a new relationship.
Dr. Hensley, let me ask you this. As you allude to this attachment theory, are there any things that our viewers can ask themselves that might give them an indication of whether they have secure attachment tendencies or insecure ones? A couple questions we might ask ourselves.
I would say the first one was, what was your childhood like? Did you receive emotional attunement from your parents? Do you have any noticeable traumas in your childhood, like having a parent with a mental health issue or a substance abuse issue? Did you experience any trauma in childhood? Were your parents really emotionally supportive of you? A lot of people don't recognize that they were emotionally neglected in childhood. Their parents provided a lot of instrumental and problem-solving support, but just weren't attuned to the child's emotions. And that can have a profound impact on how vulnerable someone can be in a relationship and how much emotional intimacy they can foster. And then second, I would ask them to take a look at their conflict-related behaviors. Do they tend to get reactive, or do they tend to shut down and go cold? Those are really indicative of attachment traumas that are operating at the level of the nervous system that need some healing work.
You know your stuff.
You do, actually. That's sending so many bells off. I'm like thinking of all kinds of real world examples, like, oh yeah, I did that in that situation.
Oh yeah, check myself.
What happened when I was a kid? I'm the middle kid. That's a whole can of worms.
Well, we appreciate you and your advice. Real quick before we let you go, where can people follow you on all of those platforms?
Yes, you can visit my website, thelovedoc.com. We have officially rebranded from the Dating Decoder because I've kind of expanded my practice. So we just rebranded, so you can look up thelovedoc.com. The Love Doc Relationship Coaching Services is the name of my coaching business. We work online, so we can work with wherever you are in the world. I have international clients as well. And please tune into the Love Doc podcast on any podcast platform, and you can find me on any social media platform under the handle Dr. Sarah Hensley.
Perfect.
Yeah, nice to meet you over Zoom, Dr. Hensley.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
I'm a big fan of Chicago. My brother lives there, and I love Chicago. So thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, thank you. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on Friday's edition of Chicago Now. Have a great day. The Went to Go.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at noon.
And right now at noon, new information on Operation Midway Blitz. We're going to hear directly from Secretary of Homeland Security, ChicagoNOW.
The Department of Homeland Security claims their highest priority is to protect children. So today I have to ask them, please live up to those ideals.
And Governor Pritzker pleading with federal officials to halt their operations ahead of Halloween. Let's take a live look outside right now. Look at that shot of Grant Park. I love it. We've got a great forecast on tap for you. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalie Bompey. Sylvia has the day off, and we've got a packed day over immigration operations. Secretary of Homeland Security ChicagoNOW just finished delivering remarks out of Indiana on Operation Midway Blitz. She was joined by Indiana Governor Mike Braun and Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, as well as ICE officials and the head of Indiana State Police. NOM talked about the number of undocumented drivers who have been arrested since the start of Operation Midway Blitz. She spoke specifically about semi-truck drivers. She said many of them, she believes, have endangered citizens.
And listen, we don't want any of these individuals out on our roads, and we don't want them in our communities, and we especially don't want them behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler when they can't speak our language, they don't understand our laws, they can't follow our roadway signs, and they can't interact with law enforcement or our citizens. It's dangerous, and it's not going to happen under the Trump administration like it did under the Biden administration.
Our political reporter Paris Schutz is in Gary, where NOM was speaking. He'll have a live report on her comments regarding a request from the governor. That's coming up later this hour. And meantime, in Broadview, protesters are refusing to take down a tent outside the ICE processing facility there. Gabby's been out there all morning long. Gabby, what has changed throughout the morning there?
Hey, good morning, Natalie. Well, the setup behind me is called the Yes We Canopy Mutual Aid Hub, and really nothing has changed. The Village of Broadview, remember, issued a notice saying that the tent must go down by 10 a.m. today because it violates a public camping ordinance. Well, look at the time. It's well past 10 a.m. and the tent is still up, and no one has come by to enforce the change. So anti-ICE demonstrators, just a small group, is sitting here making sure that they're protecting the tent, and they're ready to get citations if needed. Let's give you a closer look at some of the video from earlier this morning up inside the tent. Organizers say the mutual aid tent has been in place for weeks to provide a variety of services, including information for families of those detained by ICE on how to get help from lawyers or other resources. Demonstrators cited that people would be turned away from the ICE facility and go to them for information about their loved ones. People have been staying in the tent 24/7. Sure, it is staffed to prevent theft. There were 2 individuals who were staying here all night last night despite the cold temperatures. I chatted with them this morning before the group came. You know, our team has been coming here by this tent for weeks. We've seen stacks of various personal protective equipment, sign-making materials, water bottles, snacks, and more stacked in piles. We didn't see that anymore. Now you're seeing organized and labeled bins. They plan on taking the bins into storage. During an impromptu press conference, I asked them what their plan is when the tent is taken down.
We're really at the whim of the city of Broadview or the village of Broadview, as well as the differentiating orders between the local law enforcement agencies, and that's something that we run into constantly. I think all we can really say is that we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and whether it's with a tent or not, it's hard to say, but the most important thing is that we continue to take care of the victims, and we're not going anywhere for that.
Nope. Today we provide a demand letter to the Broadview to rescind their violation notices and allow us to remain. We request that Broadview stand down while the appropriate injunctions are filed to prevent the removal of the tents.
So here the small group will sit until they're potentially given citation. I will say that there's been a Village of Broadview vehicle that's been driving by a couple of times, but no one again has come to enforce the teardown of the tent. We'll keep you updated on air and online. Gabriela Primus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Thank you, Gabby. Today, Border Chief Greg Bovino is back in court after an emergency ruling cleared him from those daily check-ins with the judge on his operations. Roseanne joins us live outside the Dirksen Federal Building with the latest on this. Hi, Roseanne.
Good morning. Well, today he is being deposed. In fact, that deposition should be underway right now. It's part of a lawsuit brought by Chicago media organizations who allege that Border Patrol agents are trying to silence reporters with overly aggressive tactics. Now, Border Chief Greg Bavino once again was due here at the Dirksen Federal Building at 10 a.m., only unlike Tuesday when he faced a relatively small but very vocal group of protesters who clashed with federal agents. Today, all was quiet. We assume he entered underground. Bavino and others will be questioned under oath and behind closed doors about how they conduct immigration enforcement operations. The border chief won't be coming here to provide those daily updates on agents' activities, despite the order of a U.S. district judge earlier this week. An emergency appeal granted yesterday did put an end to that, at least for now. Meantime, Governor Pritzker, speaking at a news conference today, pled with Border Patrol to pause operations